Welcome to the video lecture for this module on ethical decision-making. In this video, we will discuss 5 common steps to making an ethical decision and several questions to consider at each step of the process. When we discuss time management, one pitfall we might face in the field is how to make decisions in a way that avoids wasting time on rework or dealing with other consequences of that poor decision. It can be tempting to cut corners or find ways to maximize your team's efficiency through means that need to be evaluated in an ethical manner. As we can see from the reading, it can be easy for a nonprofit organization to be judged unfairly in the media. Even USAID is not immune to this criticism. I've included several examples of scandals that have affected other nonprofits in the readings as examples. The best way we can improve our ability to act ethically is to have a plan in place for how we make that decision. As Martin Cohen said, ethics is about choices which matter, and choices which matter are dilemmas. So, what is an ethical issue? An ethical issue really is a complex situation where your ethical principles or values are in conflict. When faced with a difficult ethical dilemma, you need an ethical decision framework to resolve it. When we have a plan, we can speed up the process of our evaluations and focus on what matters. In the context of decision-making, your ethics are those personal standards of right and wrong. They are your basis for making ethically sensitive decisions. Ethical decision-making can be described as a cognitive process that considers various ethical principles, rules, or virtues, or even the maintenance of relationships to guide and judge individual or group decisions and intended actions. When we examine our decision-making in a real-world context, we can identify the true dilemma, hard choices between two right answers, not between right and wrong. For the purpose of this module, we can break this down into 5 steps. The first, recognize the ethical issue, get the facts, evaluate alternative actions, make a decision and test it, act and reflect on the outcome. In the module reading assignment, the Project Management Institute outlines a series of similar decision-making steps, and these core basic steps of ethical decision-making can be found in several other programs and standards. The steps of ethical decision-making are universal and often repeated in many decision processes, but the steps remain similar no matter the source. These basic steps are fundamental to making effective decisions and can be one way of implementing a change that can impact your time management skills. The first step is to recognize the ethical issue. You must be able to determine if there's a possible violation of an important ethical principle, a societal law, or organizational standard or policy. Some questions to ask yourself are, could this decision or situation be damaging to someone or to some group? Does this decision involve a choice between a good and a bad alternative? Or perhaps between 2 goods or 2 bads? Is the issue more about what is legal or what is most efficient? If so, how? Does it abide by the law? Does it align with the ethical values of those of you or those of your surrounding culture? And does it abide with the ethical values of your organization? The second step is to get the facts. During this step, you should strive to get all the relevant facts behind the decision. What are those relevant facts? What facts may not be known? Can I learn more about the situation? Do I know enough to make a decision? What individuals or groups have an important stake in the outcome? Are some concerns more important? What are the options for acting? Have all of the relevant groups and persons been consulted? And have I identified creative options? The third step is to evaluate alternative actions. Evaluate all of your possible options by asking these following questions. Which option will produce the most good and the least harm? This is what I would call the utilitarian approach. Which option best respects the rights of all who have a stake? This would be called the rights approach. Which option treats people equally or proportionately? This would be the justice approach. Which option best serves the community as a whole and not just some members? This is the common good approach. Which option leads me to act as the sort of person I want to be? This would be the virtue approach. The fourth step is to make and test it. Considering all of these approaches, which option best addresses the situation? If I told someone I respect, or told a television audience which option I've chosen, what would they say? Try to place the decision in the eyes of another and consider the likely reactions to this decision. One useful question can be, if looking back on this decision, will it seem like a good idea a year from now? Would your choice treat others as you would like to be treated? This is known to most as the golden rule. How can my decision be implemented with the greatest care and attention to the concerns of all stakeholders? Lastly, you need to act and reflect on the outcome. Before you proceed, you should consider a few last questions. Are you willing to accept responsibility for this decision? Could you make this decision public and still feel good about it? And lastly, are you ready to act? If you cannot answer these questions, you should retrace the steps of this process before acting on your decision. After you have acted, you will be able to consider how your decision turned out and what you have learned from this specific situation. The challenges of every ethical decision will not be how you make every decision perfect, but rather how you react and learn from your mistakes. You will not be able to make every right decision, but as long as you apply these lessons, you can have a better understanding of the process. In summary, those 5 steps are, again, recognize the ethical issue, get the facts, evaluate alternative actions, make a decision and test it, act and reflect on the outcome. Thank you for your time.